With every developmental stage of the internet, there has always emerges a new problem, and with every emergence of a new problem calls for a solution. That is why we currently have Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Web 1 has a problem that Web 2 came to solve, and Web 2 has a problem that Web 3 is currently trying to solve. And probably Web 3 might later develop a problem that we might need Web 4 to come and solve. But as of now, we are stuck with Web 3. So in this video, I'm going to give you a full breakdown of what Web3 is all about and how you can probably benefit from it. But we cannot fully understand the concept of Web3 without first diving into Web1 and Web2. So stick with me as we break this down step by step. Web 1 is the first stage of the internet, and it started at 1991 to 2004. So in this stage, we have static websites, limited interactivity, and then centralized content. Basically, what this is trying to say is that all content are static, or what I would like to call read-only. And this is a live example. Let's say, for instance, you want to read an information in a newspaper. In the olden days, you would have to go to where they sell newspaper, purchase your newspaper, come home and read. While you are reading your newspaper, you cannot edit anything on the newspaper. All the information that are provided there is what you have access to. It gives you no room to react or to change anything there. You just basically have to read and then move on to the next one. So this is what Web 1 did, but the difference is that it was on the internet. So what it basically solved is the problem of information. So this time around, you don't have to leave your house to go into a shop to purchase newspaper or whatsoever. All you basically have to do is to access your smartphone, your computer, your laptops, or any device that can access the internet, and then you go there and read your informations. So this is what it basically is. Informations are posted there and you read only. It gives you no room to interact or to change or do anything with it. And in this period, informations are controlled by a single authority, or let's say a centralized authority. So that is even why you cannot even change or edit anything on it. So take note, Web 1 solved a problem, and the problem it solved was this emitting or giving people informations like a very short time. You don't have to produce numerous amount of newspaper to cover for everybody. All they basically have to do is to post the information online, and anybody that has access to the internet can access this information. So it solved the problem of disseminating information or giving information or distributing information to people within a very short period of time. But its main problem was now interactivity, and this is what Web 2 came to solve. So Web 2 started in 2004 to the early 2010s, and in this Web 2, we basically have dynamic content, social media, and user engagement. What this basically means is that Web 2 solved the problem of interactivity. If you notice now on Facebook, you can make a post by yourself. You can basically walk down the street and information is passed. You pick it up and then you post it on your channel or on your page or whatsoever. People have the opportunity to comment on this your post. They have the opportunity to like, to share. Basically, it is interactive, just as if you're communicating with your fellow human being. But this time around, you are doing it online. So you interact and exchange informations within a very short period of time. So this solved the problem of interactivity that Web 1 had. But take note, a new problem still developed. And this problem is your informations, user informations. If you notice, if you want to sign up on Facebook, for instance, you first of all have to accept the Facebook terms and conditions. If you do not accept the terms and conditions, you will not be allowed or eligible to sign up. So you first have to accept their terms and conditions. And similarly with other social media platforms and other platforms out there that give you this opportunity, you first of all have to accept their terms and conditions. And after doing so, you provide them your phone number, your name, email address, and a lot of other details. So they basically have access to your personal informations. This would not have been a problem. But then these informations are controlled by a centralized authority. For instance, Facebook controls all your data that are on Facebook. And anytime they can give out this your data to government whenever government requests for it, or they can give it to external companies that decides to want to buy your data from them. And then there is another problem again. These sites, they seem to communicate with themselves. Sometimes I think Facebook even has a way of communicating with WhatsApp and communicating with other applications on your phone to get some other of your details and here and there. So that is why you're going to notice that Facebook can tell you where you have been in the past 5 to 10 years of your life. If you go on Facebook, you're going to see your memories, your posts, and a lot others. So the problem it had was that your informations are in their hands and they can do whatever they want with this your information. And that is why we now have Web3 that came to solve that problem. So Web3 is built upon Web2, and everything you can do on your Web2, you can still do the same thing on Web3 and more. But basically, it offers decentralization. Now, here is an example that is going to help you to understand it very fast. Just with the example I gave with Facebook, that before you register, you have to provide them your name, your phone number, your email address, and the likes. When it comes to Web3, let's say, for instance, Web3 has Facebook and you want to register, you don't have to provide them your phone number. You don't even have to give them details that are directly linked to you. All you basically have to do is to use your wallet address, your decentralized wallet address. For those of you that have interacted with smart contracts, you realize that you have to connect your wallet address. That is, you have to sign in your wallet address. And when you are done, you can sign it out at any time you want, or you can sign it in. So your wallet does not have a direct connection with your name. Anybody that gets your wallet, for instance, or let's say, for instance, your wallet get hacked or you lost your secrets or whatsoever, the person will get access to your funds and all the things on the wallet, quite all right, but the person does not have access or direct connection to your name. So there is no direct connection between your name, your location, and your personal house details to your wallet. And one important thing, Web3 is not fully developed yet. That is why if you search on internet looking for what Web3 is, you cannot fully get the full concept. You can only understand what Web3 is, but you can't grasp the full concept of Web3. Why? Because Web3 is not fully developed yet, or I would like to call it the baby phase or the early stages. So it is still undergoing developments. There are a lot of things that are currently being built on Web3, and Web3 is the next, it is the future of the internet. So very soon, platforms like the Facebooks, WhatsApp, and the likes, they will either die down or find a way to switch from Web2 to Web3 if they want to keep their relevance. I'm sure none of you use Web1 today. Nobody. Yes. So everybody is using Web2. So as at the time when Web3 is fully developed, probably nobody is still going to use Web2 again. It will die a natural death. So everybody has to be on Web3, and as such, everybody needs the information or the knowledge on what Web3 is all about. And that is basically it. In my next video, I am going to teach you guys on blockchain, because there is no way you can talk about Web3 without talking about blockchain. For Web3 to be decentralized, it has to be built on blockchain technology. So you have to understand what this blockchain technology is and all the things that are attached to it. So in my next video, we are going to be talking about blockchain technology, and that is basically it. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Turn on the bell icon so you get notifications whenever we upload a new video. And with the link in the description box of this video, join my Telegram channel to stay in touch.